we
It was budgeted.
we budgeted for Al
Right.
originally.
Mhm.
So, but when we originally were talking budget.
For
and we were talking about
25.
For 25, we had forgot that, and that
Mhm.
vacant position was 0 hours at $0.
And that's what I was thinking of.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, it was on there, it just,
Zero.
big goose egg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
so,
get there, everybody.
so,
Take your time.
I mean.
That's what we're here
everybody
for.
knows
4 years, right?
Maybe the way to go. So we'll,
And we're
I'll
not,
revise for that.
yeah, we're just gonna, and Sandy's got some other stuff there too that she kind of needs an answer on.
Yeah, I hate to assume that no answer is an affirmative answer, so I know I've tossed this out a couple of times. We budgeted a 3% employee increase. I want to make sure everybody's good with that.
Well, I don't think that's excessive, but I don't believe that people deserve raises just because it's another year. So my question was
This
to
is a budget number.
Steve,
This is
yeah.
a budget number.
I know.
Okay.
I know. But my question then to Steve was, is everybody being appropriately evaluated so that we can say to the community that everybody's performance is worthy?
And this doesn't happen till July 1st.
Right.
Okay.
I know, but you know,
But I guess to piggyback off of you, last year I don't want to assume, but I would guess that everybody got the raise that was proposed.
That was what you all voted on
Yeah.
as we got.
it isn't a silly question is what you're saying.
No, I'm just trying to understand it too, because I mean, I'm still new, obviously, also. So let's say we do approve the 3%.
It
In our
doesn't-
budget.
It doesn't mean you have to do that. When it
Okay,
comes June, do
Right.
anything you want to do,
okay.
but there's 3% worth of money
Right.
in the
We have to
budget.
budget it.
Correct.
So
Okay.
when I evaluate staff, I don't go through and say this person gets this percent, the council gives the raise.
Mhm.
not
Right.
me.
But there's got to be some kind of recommendations for us to go by.
Mhm.
Because we're not making that decision, we're approving that decision.
Mhm. So for this, since we have a new leadership team, I had asked, it was shortly around the election, I can't recall, employee evaluations in November, December-ish or something like that, towards the end of the year. And I had kicked it to the council that I would like to be evaluated this year and then perform employee evaluations after I know what the leadership team expects out of me and the staff. If there are any changes or anything that I can pass along to the employees as I'm giving them evaluations.
But we also have other people, administrators in place that evaluate their employees, like the chief of police. I don't know. Lyle, do you do anybody, Mayor?
We do Steve.
Okay,
You guys all do, Steve.
You all do Steve.
okay.
So I guess
This thing
I
dropped again,
misunderstood that then too. And that's me being naive, is I thought once we said it's 3%, I thought that's what everybody got. I didn't know that
No
we
matter
had the
what.
ability.
Mhm.
To say-
You have the
They don't give them
ability,
money.
you have the ability to change that.
I would
Just
say,
know that if you change that, there's 3% worth available in the budget. So if you're doing something other than that, you either need to consciously say they're not doing 3% worth of work, or you have to consciously say, we want them to have more, and where are we pulling that money from? Because it's got to give some,
Mhm.
it's got to give somewhere.
but
I'm
I
glad
would-
she asked that, because that made me, like I just said, I didn't quite understand that either, so that's good to know.
So as far as like the police raises, those are all negotiated through the Teamsters Union, through Mr. Stone. and a Teamsters representative.
That's not based off of an evaluation still though?
No,
No, that's their contract.
Okay.
that's how it's written in the contract.
But at that time, does anybody from the board sit in on those with Mr. Stone? Does anybody from the,
Previously,
Usually a council person. And
yeah, the mayor and me.
Okay.
And the chief.
And it's usually a process, you know, they ask for this, you counter with that.
I understand negotiations,
Yeah.
yeah. Not to be short, but I get that process, but I just,
Yeah, if there are
Regardless.
any room for improvement, I'm all ears on the process because I basically just adopted the process that was handed to me
mhm.
to get going because we jumped right into a negotiation year. I'm pretty sure it was right. It was pretty early.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about 3%? More, less?
I mean, I feel more comfortable now knowing that we don't have to say you're going to get the 3%.
But it's there if we do.
Mhm.
Budgeted it.
Correct.
Mhm.
And the 3% is mostly just a cost of living adjustment. It isn't really like a raise, like a meritorious raise per
Mhm.
se. It's like consumer price index goes up 2 or 3%. That's what the cost of living goes up.
Right, well, I understand that too, but I still think that there has to be some accountability. Something to let the council know that everything's in order, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
I understand.
Very much does.
I mean, I don't want to go out and say to my constituents, I don't know why, 3% was picked or whatever. And we could say cost of living, but the reality of it is not everybody's getting the cost of living.
3% is not the cost of living.
Well, Steve was just making a
I was just making an example.
example.
Again this year,
Is it?
1% again. So
And-
2 years
and
I've
to
got
me,
1%.
To me, this isn't obviously anything personal or what I think people should get or what I would like to give them. And I know we're talking about budget. And I don't want to be an alarmist, but I am a realist. And it's like, we know that general fund's going to have to come down. Okay, I see now we have a levy that can cover benefits. That's fine. And that's on the taxpayer. But we have to get our house in order so that we can attain that 810 by the time that it's ready to be in place. Anybody?
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, you don't want to, I would hate to say that we're going to wait till the year before to really crunch it and figure it out, because I think by that time you're maybe,
Well, especially when you're talking about recurring costs. I mean, once you give that, you've given it. You can't take it back.
What do you think, Judy?
I think that there's nothing wrong with having 3%, and we'll just see how it goes as we get through the process, and we know that money's there and we don't have to spend it, but it's there if we choose to. If we want to come in lower, we'll be lower.
I can deal with that.
Okay, Thank you. And the last part that really didn't get a lot of definitive.
I thought you said you went pretty conservative on that.
I presented the few changes that we made. We increased a little bit to the fire department accruals. We added a little bit for, excuse me.
Housing.
Take a drink.
City Hall,
Energy
energy
efficiency
efficient,
projects.
I couldn't think of the word, energy efficient improvements. I know there've been some other questions. You guys were gonna attend, the CDC investment meeting. I didn't know if anything came out of that, so you're all good.
The community development
Oh,
meeting.
oh,
CDC?
yeah. Yeah, probably need to talk about that.
Did you have the email from
I must have grabbed the wrong paper. I thought I had all the budget stuff and I do
She
not.
asked to be handed to the council after the meeting last week.
What are you looking for?
I thought we had two packets
You
at
did.
one point. I have this one. And I thought there was another one and I thought I grabbed it, but I might have left it on my counter.
Oh.
Well, if there's anything you'd like, I could try to go pull it together for you
I
quickly.
just wanted to have
If you guys want to
everything.
chat, I can go. Pull that
Was
back
it from
up.
January?
It was the
Third?
one,
You okay with me sticking out for a
Mhm.
sec?
it was the one opposite of this one.
You ain't the one with the yellow highlights in them, like
Is this the
the,
one, is this it right here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one.
That is it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the one. Yeah.
All right.
see if that one has a local option sales, a lost at the top, capital LOS. Oh,
A lot of work in there, isn't there?
yeah,
Like I said, I had a stack and I might have just misgrabbed.
yeah, I do believe you're missing a couple of pages of, that might have been the additional packet she had.
I'm just thinking the one with the yellow highlights and.
There was
All of
another
this?
one that had, this one might be the one, Shawnee. May I
You may, as soon as I
Excuse
get
me.
to it. You think this is it?
think it was after. Yes, this is one, it was the one that had the big yellow up at the top.
Okay, I just
Let me
missed.
see, I think,
Do you want copies?
Sure. Or is it a lot? I don't want to have to recopy all that.
I don't think there's too much. Shouldn't-
I was just trying to be prepared and failed.
Could I have a set too?
You got it.
No, you got mine, sorry. Picked up the wrong packet. I walked out the door.
But we can commence to talk about the three of us, about the community development.
Yeah.
Did you all get the budget? You were at the meeting, so. you
I did
got-
not get it. The only thing I got from one of the members was a thank you.
Sandy was supposed to have gotten all that information out before this meeting.
I don't
She's,
think I got it
she's
from her.
getting, she's running some off now.
Okay.
You know, I don't think I got it either, Judy.
I think
I
she-
got a thank you.
I think that she meant to email it, but I know that I didn't get it.
No.
And if you didn't either,
No,
okay,
the one thing I got was from one of the members, a thank you.
yes, right.
Yeah, I think Amber sent that out, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I got that too. Did I thought. I mean, if we would like to discuss it, I'm more than happy to, and I think that, you know, I think I've been very maybe open about it. And it's not that I don't appreciate the volunteerism, because I understand what goes into being a volunteer. I just have, I have a hard time with the 17,750. I really do. I mean, I don't want to take away from any of our celebrations. I don't want to discredit anything they've ever done. That's not what I'm saying. Because I think we can all say we appreciate the 3rd of July. We appreciate holiday homecoming. I thoroughly enjoy going down and celebrating that and being there for the tree lighting and all that. I'm not taking away from anything of that. My concern and my thoughts are as a volunteer group. I understand that they have to have funds coming from somewhere. I do understand that. But does it have to be so much from the city? I guess.
Well, some of the things that they talked about that they did, I had some thoughts on, and one of those things was the restroom. I'm a little confused as to why it is that we're giving them $17,700 and they're giving us $7,000 with the restroom.
It was 7,000, yeah.
I don't get that exchange of money. I don't see the necessity. It's just like, I give it to you, you give it to us.
Kind of like a more, just the paperwork, I guess, would it be? Or just the, why the back and forth? Or
Yeah, why the back and forth? If it's, unless they intend to do something else in regard to the restroom, I don't know. I had that in my mind. And I also can see their point about in kind, and something that I would really like to do for them. We were just talking, Sandy, about the restroom money and the back and forth of how that didn't make sense
This
to
is
me.
hers with the holes in it.
Oh,
You're
her.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
The restroom money and the back and forth activity with that. We give them 17,500 and they give us 7 back. But I would really like to see if we could find a place in one of the city facilities to house them. That'd bust open their budget probably $5,000. They said $250 a month rent, $250 utilities, whatever. Are we full in the community building?
I will have to investigate that.
I'm betting not, because I don't know where the volunteer program went, but I do know that they can probably work out of that one room that Maryland's in. And that would open up an office.
or
And
even
I-
a driver's license place?
I was
Or
gonna
is that
say,
where they went? Or,
no,
Okay.
we were there when they were there. The driver's license place isn't even there anymore. Do they come anymore?
No.
Then that's a perfect opportunity. It would cost us nothing. And it
I know
would,
several of the rooms are leased out to.
that side of the building, but how about where the volunteer program was?
I don't know, I just know
Yeah.
several of the buildings, several of the rooms were, and I know there was a room turned into storage.
Yeah, when Rachel was the director, we had looked at trying to get them into the community center, just exploratory on trying to save money, and there was something going on, so that's why I would need to investigate it. I just don't know what is in that south wing
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
the volunteer
How
program,
much time do they spend in the building anyway?
well, see, that's a part-time thing also. And so if you have 2 part-time things, if they coordinate their time, that's a win for everybody. I'd really like to do that for
How
them.
much time do you think
I know
is
we had
actually
3 in our
spent
office
like
at
in
one
an
time.
office?
In the office?
Yeah, like an office.
It would be hard for me to say because a lot of what the director does is be out on the street visiting businesses.
Yeah.
And it is a part-time job. The only issue that community development has is there's a lot that we store. And in the building that we're in now, the whole back room is a storeroom. We've got, there's just a ton of stuff back there. So storage is needed. So that would be a big component of where we would go.
Okay, but they have a storage building.
They do. I don't
Sandy,
know.
would you do me a big favor,
Storage building?
the community center, and put down your books so I can look at you?
That's
Okay, you can see her from about here.
Like Edith Ann over here.
Who's that?
Thank you. So, they do have a storage building. It's an awesome building to work out of. I can attest to that. And the other option, and I know this is something that we're going to look at down the road, so I don't know if we want to commit, would be the medical building. If we decide to and have to do the repairs, if we decide to place people in there, there's a lot of places in there empty right now, right?
There's available space.
There's available space, and we have Miracle Air going in there. So you're going to have to heat the facility and do all those, water and all that stuff. Why can't they have that? And there would probably be storage available too.
There's also space in the Kirkwood building right now.
I would love to do that for them because let's face it, that these celebrations are really the very fiber of the community. They are so important, but our budget is as important as theirs, if not more. And what they can do with volunteer work, we can't. So that was another thought that I had. Anybody else thinking?
I'm sorry,
I think-
stepped out. Was there discussion prior to that?
About the restroom. I didn't understand why it is we,
$7,000. Just,
unless they had some other kind of a stake in the restroom that would add to that $7,000, just for them to say that they gave us $7,000 is kind of erroneous because, yes.
Exactly.
Sorry, I was just for
Yeah.
minutes. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss some.
I mean, I never thought of the community center. That's great that you thought of that. I was thinking of the old medical building, but I am very torn between that because the medical building, I would like to see that for sale, so I don't want to
I understand.
commit to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you're on the right track. Getting them in a city building, I think, is a fantastic idea. I think it helps them out a lot.
Yeah. And the reality of it is we do have other nonprofit organizations that do a lot for the community that we don't give anything to. We give a couple thousand to the Lions for the fireworks, obviously. Should there be some kind of and I'm just talking, some kind of resolution or whatever, that whenever someone steps forward like that we only give so much. I don't know. I have a hard time having taxpayer money support nonprofits.
If the city is not getting something out of it, it's actually illegal.
That's where it's
But
dicey
they
for
are
me.
doing something for the community, which is how we get away with that donation.
Right.
Okay.
But after
Like
listening
Fireworks
to,
is for the community. We can get away with that
Mhm.
donation.
Yeah.
We can't donate for them to do some good works,
thank you, because I knew that too.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I just think, I'm not sure where the 17.5 or 7 or whatever came from, because I haven't been on board long enough to know that.
None of this
I-
happened.
I think that you're
No,
probably
you're
right.
Why?
Yeah.
Because what was the oldest one I found was from '07?
Yeah, 07, that's-
15,000.
yeah, 07 was 15. and it
15,000
was
a year for 3 years.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just, let's throw the biocells out there. The biocells, I think, are the responsibility of this. I know they have a purpose. They haven't been used appropriately and they aren't working like they are supposed to because of the plants that we have in them. Is that the way I understand it? They need to be redone appropriately?
There is the BioCell Committee through Community Development that's now currently working with Amy Bauska and to get a plan in place to put plants in there that hopefully will be a little more drought resistant.
Yes.
And I'm not on that committee, so I can't speak to exactly what they're looking at. Teresa Hermson's on it, and
Well,
Vicki Schwab is
and
on it.
Brian.
There's one other, Brian and one other individual. So we would have to speak to them to know what the plan is.
But should it be
it's-
their plan? I appreciate their volunteer work and I know that they've got some experts lined up to get the appropriate things put in there and that there could be nothing better than that. But I'm wondering if we don't have some responsibility to it, perhaps through the Park and Rec. To me, it fits into that. I don't know if it does to anybody else. Someone else has to talk.
Because downtown's a park.
You can have a park downtown.
You can have a park downtown.
Yeah.
But do we have a park downtown?
We have the sound park downtown.
We do. And that's
But our
another.
BioCell's a park.
Depends on how you look at it, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, you could consider each biocell or the area of the biocells a park. Or not. I mean, it's all in the eye
I know
of
she
the
has
perspective
7
of.
parks to take care of already.
Mhm.
yeah. But that is her job.
I'm not arguing that.
I just think when they were put in place, we certainly were not planning on having a volunteer organization step forward to take care of them.
There was no maintenance plan when those were put in.
That's exactly right.
And unfortunately, then a citizen did not like the way they looked and wanted to do something else. And with the former mayor's approval, went ahead and did that with all good intentions.
Of course.
And they were beautiful, but they were maintenance heavy. And there was that individual cared for them for a number of years and another couple, as far as I know, and a few other individuals volunteered to help also.
So,
And then it was a progression of good intentions that led to what we have now. And then we have the drought thrown in there and that kills just about everything.
so I guess my intention is to have the city take some responsibility for those cells on some level, be it the Park and
You
Rec
pay for the
director.
soil temp samples.
Yeah, well, that's good, but I mean, I don't know whether it be the Park and Rec director who works in coordination with the volunteer program. Perhaps
I-
helping to find, go ahead,
I don't want to interrupt you, but I guess
somebody
with,
should.
with you saying that, I mean, I didn't even think we paid for that, and this is not to throw anybody under the bus, but it seemed like we were always hearing, well, it's the city responsibility. So if that's the case, why don't we make it our responsibility then? And you just eliminate the middleman. If we're gonna pay for a soil sample because it's our responsibility and we're going through somebody, what's the purpose of going through somebody? If it's ours.
And it's not that we don't appreciate volunteer help, and they've got some knockout volunteer help put in place.
Yeah,
But I think that we need to have someone here work alongside them so that we're aware of what's going on.
like an accountability kind of maybe a little bit.
Well, I'm
Or-
positive they're gonna do a knockout job. That isn't even a question.
Mhm.
and appreciating what they're doing isn't a question. I just think we need to take some responsibility towards those somehow. The other thing too that went across so many things went across my mind. And Judy, you can tell me this. Have they ever approached the American Legion for flags?
To donate flags?
Mhm.
I do not know that. I know that they have purchased some flags through the American Legion, and I know that they have purchased flags for Main Street elsewhere too.
Yeah,
Because I'm kind of heading that up right now to get things ready for this summer. So we're in the process.
yeah. Because I'm wondering if they wouldn't step forward with the donations for the city of the flags. But those were some of the things that went across my mind. I'm trying to think if there was anything else, because I know that's a lot and I'm doing a lot of talking.
That's fine.
And I wish that the two others were here, but. So that's where, in my mind, the question of how much.
And
And-
that's where we're at is because, Sandy has to get this together for us.
Yep.
And
I mean, I guess I'm thinking, when we were there, there it is right there. Gosh, that's what I was looking for. So utilities 240262. And 24.
We could work that out for them.
So you're looking at 48, almost 5,000.
Are they under contract? No, under lease? No.
So 5,000 right there. That's a significant chunk right there, I think.
Can we have another budget meeting before budget time?
3 wasn't enough for you?
Yeah, I'm a budget finance person. What can I say? I love it.
well,
So that would give Steve an opportunity to find out if there was availability. They seemed open to it to me at the meeting when they talked about in-kind. Because I'm thinking, what kind of in-kind could we really in-kind them? And that's a major one.
Okay, so I'm just gonna toss out a budget possibility, okay? You guys can favor or not.
Okay.
So the way the budget works, it's not gonna change what's coming in, because lost is what lost is. So it's only going to affect the outward bound budget. And whether we're donating to CDC or sticking extra money in reserve,
Mm-hmm.
it goes on the same line item for me
Okay.
in the state budget. So we could leave it like this, and then that gives you all time to decide, okay, and I don't even care when you decide, because I don't usually cut them a check until January. You could say, yep, we're gonna give them all that, or nope, we were able to save them X amount of money and get them in a city building somewhere, so we're gonna take that out of that. And then it can go to reserve, and you guys can spend reserve on anything you want all year long. Allows me to move forward.
Well, I think we're at a kind of a
Budget.
crossroads. I don't really want to leave them hanging, and I don't really want them to think that not understanding maybe how the budget process works, that if that's in there, it's in there for them. I would really almost rather find out first if we can help them with an in-kind, even if we had to have another short budget meeting after a regular meeting or
I mean,
whatever.
understand, it doesn't change what I do at all.
Yeah, I understand that. It's a perception. That's all.
So you said you wrote the check to them for 24's budget, you wrote this month? So essentially, we're talking about money that we would write a check to them in another year.
Next January.
Yeah, next January.
Mhm.
That's all I'm saying.
But it
is
could
I don't
be-
know that it has to be put in concrete before we budget, because we're not expending money for 11 more months.
Yeah,
But they also have to make plans.
I understand that. You
Yeah.
can make that decision next week or the week after that or the week after that. As long as I know I'm moving forward,
Yep.
you can change your mind anytime.
and CDC budget is not like cities,
We're fiscal year,
your fiscal
I mean, calendar year.
calendar.
Calendar year.
Okay.
So what?
Yeah,
you-
make that
so-
decision next time, as
so
far as
you
I'm
want-
concerned, as long as
Sandy
you're
just
not
needs
planning on
to,
putting it
there
someplace
are,
else.
there's paperwork Sandy has to start getting ready to submit for us to be able to levy taxes and stuff. And this doesn't really have a whole lot to do with that. I'm trying to move forward with some of this stuff. So this page, so that we can start certifying this, so that we can levy taxes. And so no one's trying to force your hand or rush anything. I'm just kind of redirecting back towards this page so she can keep moving forward on that kind of stuff. Is that accurate, Sandy? Because we have
so-
we have some
so
very
you
tight
can-
timelines
so
to
you can
do this.
basically budget for that 17, and then if you choose, and I'm just saying this, you choose to give them $10,000. The rest of that will go into the general fund, correct?
No,
Or I mean,
reserve.
the reserve fund.
Local option sales tax
No,
reserve.
still
Lost.
So it's still there if you choose to give them more or
So
donate
it's in
more to
reserve
them.
or redirected.
It's in reserve, so basically right now, we've got about $7,000 planned for reserve.
We always just
What
leave a
it's
little bit
for
in
is
reserve because of,
Sometimes something comes up, like last year. We came and it was like, ceilings falling down in the back room. when
Yeah,
you guys come take a
$3,000
look at it. Do you
whatever.
think we could, pay to get this fixed?
Mhm.
And you guys were like, yeah, Sandy, where are we gonna
Pardon?
come up with the
I was just
money?
looking
And
to
I was
see
like,
what
I
else
don't
was
know,
out
right where
there.
we're gonna
Oh,
come
sure.
up with
Yeah.
the money, and we pulled it out of reserve. So it's budgeted as lost payment for something that you haven't decided yet.
Mhm. But we can redirect it in any given year.
You can read that, and it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't disappear, it doesn't get given back, anything
right.
like that.
This is the
Mhm.
It
fund
just
balance
sits in
here.
this
It's
fund.
just,
Okay.
It just sits there until you come up with a use for it.
or rather, that's the
If I
projected
didn't have
revenue, I'm
enough
sorry.
appropriated for it,
That's the
then we do a
Okay.
budget amendment and appropriate some more, as long as we have.
But this just
funds.
basically accumulates and then we just have different, it's one account.
In my,
You may decide to throw more at the fire department, they were talking about needing a truck, right?
Mhm.
Come up, we just have, it's a go-to place, that it's not an irresponsible amount. It's a prudent amount that you can have just as a reserve, like you would have an emergency savings account for your house.
Right. And what you're saying is in that fiscal year, that's the amount that would be.
That's the
and
projected
It would
amount.
accumulate into here if we didn't spend it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's lots of things that I thought about. I don't know if anybody wants to move forward with talking about them in the future when the other two members are here.
I was actually just gonna say that, I think it's a discussion that everybody needs to be involved in, a decision that
Yeah.
all the members need to be involved in. And, because you're appropriating money somewhere, you're a taxpayer's money somewhere, and,
I think it's really important that they're here also because one of the three members here tonight will have to abstain anyway from, from that decision, so.
mhm.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we basically can't move forward and these topics that were brought up are going to have to be brought up again.
Well, she
Well,
like I
has
said,
to, she
we-
has to
we-
move forward
Yeah.
with a dollar amount.
We know we have to approve that tonight.
And that has nothing to do, local option sales tax is based on the sales tax that comes back. It doesn't have anything to do with our tax levy rate.
Right.
So that's why I'm not trying to redirect. I just really want to help Sandy get this max levy thing in going, because if you run out of time, it gets really hairy.
Yeah.
Because
I
that's
don't
how you
wanna
levy
cause
the
Sandy
taxes.
any grief. But I also want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding about the fact that that is not a solid number.
Mhm.
That there has to be a lot more discussion on that one.
Will that work?
I can vote on that. I don't know that this is really even vote kind of
Oh,
stuff because
okay.
we're.
This is more of a
we're
little
in-
workshop.
We're basically in a
Yeah.
work session here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's just guidance to your poor old city clerk here.
You give good information, Sandy. You really do.
Okay, so, where I'm at then, is there anything else that we've talked about or that you think we've not talked about, budget related, that you want information on or me to talk to or anything before I move forward?
Well, in about the 1 month I've been here, I've tried to absorb as much as I can. I'm sure it will be better next year. But
Well, and
I don't have
you
any.
guys too, I mean, she's gonna start working on this. If you have a question or something, reach out to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, say, hey, I was thinking about this, whatever, reach out to her. February 7th, this needs to be the plan.
And then I'll be bringing this forward next time with basically what we've talked about, as far as budget, and it will be something that you'll have to, approve to move forward with. And, that way we'll be able to set hearings, which seem really far out, but we have to give information.
Almost
Sure.
didn't make it with the max levy hearing before when everybody retired all at the same time. And we almost weren't able to get our max levy, so the city of Belle Plaine would not have been able to levy taxes
That's bad.
because there was an administrator. And I worked on it with a lady from Tama to get it going. It was very stressful.
So I have nothing further for the budget workshop. I do have one question for all of you that I can't necessarily answer questions tonight, but you can reach out to me individually. I emailed you all a copy of the audit.
Mhm.
You know, all
Mhm.
50, however many pages of it there were. Since it's not necessarily for public consumption yet, I can't necessarily do it here, but if anybody had any questions, I have to get the release back to them by Friday.
Yeah. 8 points of interest, correct? To 8 things that were called to our attention.
I don't know.
I didn't mean
I
to
don't know
interrupt
all of
you.
them. I didn't count them, I guess. Yeah. Some of those regular things like, you know, you mentioned last time, segregation of duties, it's gonna be there forever.
It is.
Yeah.
I do have a couple suggestions on that though, but
Great.
that might help. It won't go away, but
It won't go away.
they'll think at least we move
There used to be
forward.
there used to be 9 things under there, so I'm kind of
That's-
tickled that there are 4.
That's not bad, Sandy.
So, yeah, you know, the financial statement stuff, that stuff's not gonna go away because we don't
Yeah.
have a CPA on staff. You know, most of the stuff was like, yeah, no. nothing
And my
here,
suggestions
nothing
might be
there,
questions
nothing here.
because you might
And that's
already
okay.
be doing them,
And that's
so.
okay. Yeah, that's okay. So yeah, so if any of you have anything, you can reach out to me, that'd be great, otherwise I'll probably get you to sign off on the form Friday and get it on its merry way. Cool,
I
I'm
did,
good.
the other question that I had, we work backwards or we're just talking, right? The baskets, we purchased those.
Through the Donovan Fund, through a grant through the Donovan Fund.
Okay. That answered my question, because I was going to say, isn't that a perfect use of the
Oh, yeah,
Donovan Fund?
oh, yeah.
They're
And it is.
beautiful.
They've been kind enough to sign off on that one for.
Correct.
Oh, they're
As
beautiful.
far back as
and
I had records.
They make a really big difference.
They're
The
beautiful.
community
I just think
comments
they're so
on them
cool.
all the
Mhm.
time.
Very cool.
There's hardly ever a time that the watering crew is out there that somebody doesn't come along and say, they're beautiful,
They're
thank you. Oh, that's how you do that.
I was just trying to save them some more money. I mean, I'm just thinking about how can we help them help us?
Okay, well, if there's no more questions, item number 6, any resident comments out there? And if not, nothing there, I will move on to 7. Need a motion for an adjournment.
I'll motion for adjournment.
Do I have a
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 3-0. We adjourn at 7:39 PM.